Hey everybody, Bob Adams. Just like you, I am an Ihub participant. And I want to take a moment to welcome you to a presentation that's been put together on behalf of your uplines in regards to the changes that are going on inside of Ihub Global. As we know, this company has grown like there's no tomorrow, but they have made some changes. And so we're going to address some of those this evening. So I want to address the
Like you, we are absolute believers in the Internet of Things and the Helium concept and the business plan. And like you, we were somewhat surprised by the events of this weekend. There was a major announcement regarding the change in Ihub distributions in their mining boxes. And this change went from a free box to having to either purchase or lease one. And it can seem like maybe that's too much for some people who are willing to continue with their Ihub participation. Now we want to show you that this change that they've made is actually good for all of us. So before we get started, I want to introduce Ron Duggar, who has spent a great deal of time preparing, a way to make this switch from what was to what is in a manner that's not only easy, but it's also very exciting. We encourage you to share this video and links with your downline and keep them enrolled and encouraged. And this will happen, and it will benefit all of us. So the invitation is to see it differently, but the choice is entirely up to you. So Ron, take it away.
I want to really thank you for being here, and those that aren't here, I'm hoping that you have an opportunity to watch this presentation soon so that you can take the information and make a good business decision for yourself. Another thing I wanted to point out is there actually is a meeting that I'm not going to be able to attend, and you as well, a Thursday night call that happens with Ihub, and I decided this was more important, that we record this and get this information out. I'm hoping that that meeting was recorded and that we'll all be able to listen kind of from the horse's mouth as well. And so I think that they likewise have been getting probably people inquiring and some concerns and probably are trying to address that in a call that's happening right now as well. I did attend virtually the conference over the weekend on Saturday. And so like all of you who may have attended or those that have heard later, there was some changes, and it could have been, like Bob said, something that has hit some people hard enough that they says, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. And that's a knee-jerk reaction, and I'm hoping tonight that we can put our business sense hats on and analyze what just happened and how it impacts us. And really the key to success when you're in business and you get a setback, it's all about how you react to it. Those who react properly succeed, and those who do knee-jerk reactions and don't analyze the best moves tend to be out of business. And so the first thing I wanted to point out to you is I am not a representative, employee or anything like that of either Helium. That's the kind of the people who govern the network, the people's network that we're all trying to help build. Nor am I'm any different than any of you who are affiliates inside Ihub. So I don't have any special channels. I don't have any way of getting any new information than what is being publicly put out there. However, for the first time over this last weekend, some very valuable information that I've been dying to get has finally been revealed. And so it gave me a chance to kind of read between the lines, kind of try to understand, and so some of this might be my best guess as to maybe what went down and why it needed to be the way it was. The first thing I wanted to let you know, as Bob just mentioned, it was probably the success that you and I all had promoting Ihub and the tools that I have had for us to promote it that created such a success story that it exposed something that is broken and needed to be fixed, and I'm glad that they responded to it. And I'm going to point out to you tonight in just this 30-minute portion that I have as to how it will impact you and how you should be smiling from ear to ear. So first of all, you see on my screen an email that each of you should have gotten directly from them, thanking us for those who participated at that launch event And those that didn't, I don't know if and when they'll actually put out that 5 hours or so of meeting content, but it was quite good, and they did again make some announcements. As you see here, they're holding the meeting right now in competition to us. And again, hopefully we'll have an opportunity in the back office area to watch that video just to kind of see what they say about these changes, additional information perhaps. So really, I'm just going through this email, and then we're going to go to some other tabs to really dive into these areas here. So lock in your hotspots for deployment schedule is upcoming. This is what's been missing, guys. We all have been waiting, and we have never been given a schedule as to when these boxes might be ready for shipment to us. These free boxes, as we've been all explained, was going to be. And they've held off until this weekend before they gave us a schedule, but they also dropped a whammy on us. So I will go into this little section a little bit deeper when we do it, but I wanted to point out to you that this is in red. This process that we're going to talk about tonight in this video kind of has a deadline for it. You need to digest this information and certainly make a decision before November 18th to try to make sure that you're in on the deployment delivery schedule for the January deployments of 2022. Okay, and so I'm going to skip a little bit past this little section here, but let's make sure we cover a couple points before we go further. This link here, I'm going to show you that link in a second, but that's what you're going to link inside your own email and log in with your normal logins to get into your Ihub account. Step 2, there'll be a Step 3 button to click here in a minute, and I'll show you that in just a second. And it's through that process that you'll be able to go through the application and make a payment of $99. And at the end of that little process, you're going to get a deployment number. And I will show you mine in just a second. You have two choices for the deployment to choose from. They both are $99 today, or as you complete that application. That's the initial registration fee. That is going to be non-refundable. So remember early on, the only thing that they kind of exposed to us is that there was going to be some kind of a shipping fee that we didn't really know what that amount would be. I'm going to consider this $99, really a fulfillment of that little thing that they told us eventually there would be some kind of a charge. They're calling it here an initial registration fee. Now, under the lease option, you would then be agreeing to $18 a month upon the deployment. So that would be a fee that would not start happening until the box is actually sent to you, and then that would start triggering a monthly cost to you of $18. These boxes do come with a voucher of a 5.8 dBi gain antenna is what they mentioned. And that is an upgrade from the standard antennas that come with most of these boxes. And it will improve your amount of helium that you will be mining per day. And so that is a real plus for us. The next option is a deposit option. So essentially you've got the $99 initial registration fee that was non-refundable, and then a one-time $400 refundable deposit. It does come with the voucher again, and the funds for your refundable deposit will be returned upon return of the hardware. So it truly is a deposit. It's not lost money, but effectively, if you're going to be mining for years, it's not going to be in your hands for a long time. So it's kind of tucked away in a savings account, as it were. Once you complete this process, you're officially locked in, and you'll receive a hotspot deployment number for January's deployment and shipping schedule. It does have a little blurb here about international members. I don't know if we have any of those that might be listening to this, but you can read that little blurb there. Effectively, they're working on trying to make sure that they can deliver boxes, but that is not currently available. They are making plans for Canada, Europe, the European market, and Mexico. All right, this little next graphic here inside the email, the hotspot delivery schedule. January 2022, 19,000 boxes are going to be available for shipment. And then as you can see there, 30, and then 55, 55, 57.5, and 57.5. That takes you out through June, first half of 2022. On the call, there was the venture capital company that was backing a lot of the purchase orders. And so they feel quite confident that this schedule they're not just using a single manufacturer, there's multiple manufacturers that they're locking up purchase orders, and so they are taking a huge chunk of the deliverables that are happening right now with manufacturers that are approved to manufacture for the Helium network. And so one point that you need to understand is that if you wanted to go out and buy your own directly from a manufacturer, you're going to be up in competition with a large player like Ihub that is sucking up a lot of the delivery schedules of these boxes. So just keep that in mind. We'll cover that a little bit more, what that means in the next page here. So we're going to go and we'll step through these tabs, but next is really where you go for the link. It's right here. You'll see the app.ihub.global. You'll use the same login as you do with your sign up and your back office of the Helium track. This is just a beta version, so they've been spending time transitioning all of the information over to this new portal here, and so you really will eventually have just one location to go to for really everything, is what I'm understanding. Then one little pitch for the marketplace, and then we will have to come back to this when more information comes out. I did register for this upcoming event, and if there's still slots available, you can find out there and maybe spend it. It's $19. I think it was $22 with tax. I plan on listening in on the marketplace launch. Effectively, guys, just understand this, that we were building an organization, you and I, that allows us to share in revenue from those who are going to deploy hotspots inside our organization. And there's an overriding kind of proposition there. But that's going to be paid to us in Helium coins, and we'll decide when we want individually to convert that into dollars. The marketplace are going to be additional products that may be sold by people in our organizations, and there will be an override on these different products. A couple of them that they kind of alluded to. There's no prices and not a lot of detail yet, but there were some companies that did parts of the presentation over the weekend. One of them was a box of IoT sensors, so for your home or a business, and maybe like a Simply Safe kind of thing where you've got some motion sensors and sensors for water leakage, smoke detections, those kind of things. So a box of sensors that someone would put in their home and make their home a smart home. So that concept there, even taking that same concept, sensors, they've got a package they're putting together for like restaurants, for their freezers and those kinds of things, or other office buildings. So if someone was wanting to kind of really become a salesperson and go out and sell those kind of boxes, and they're down in your downline, there'll be some override revenue from that kind of activity. Another one was brought out there was telehealth. And so they've got a company that's going to offer telehealth through us, and of course the fees associated with that would be a revenue source for you. And there was one deals with education. And so there'll be more added in this marketplace of products and services that we may be ending up overriding or choosing to promote ourselves and for additional revenue. Now this revenue is going to be paid in dollars. So you'll have Helium revenue, you're going to have dollars revenue coming into your efforts with Ihub. So that's all that is. I would suggest that you stay on top of Marketplace as it launches. I'm now going to switch over and let's get into some things. Up to this point in time, I have not directly dealt with you guys in any kind of a video that talks about the Ihub compensation plan. I have in the past referred you to go inside your Helium track or inside your commission portal and get into the training videos, and this one that was called the overview of the Ihub global compensation plan. It's a 13-minute video, and Rick Cotton, the CEO of the company, goes through the compensation program. I have watched this many times, and I watched it many times, and I got confused about every time I watched it. I would get pieces of it, but I didn't really understand until I started saying, I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to grab all the information that I can get off of it, and I'm going to build a spreadsheet, because that's just what I do. And so this is not published by Ihub directly. It's my own spreadsheet, but it's saying, okay, what did he say in the video, and how can I digest it? And so the only thing I really wanted to point out in the video, of course it was recorded earlier, the host fee, so I'm in cell, I'm going to first go down and put it in cell C17. That used to read 15%. I guess I can't change it right now. But anyway, it was 15%. So originally in the first 90 days, and you'll hear this from Rick right in his presentation, the host only received 15% of the helium mined in the first 90 days for their own box. And to graduate from the 15% to a 25%, you had to do two things. One, wait the 90 days, and two, you needed to have 5 affiliates that you had recruited to your organizations. If you did not do that, didn't have the 5, you remained at 15% ongoing until you got the 5 before you can get your increase in pay. And so that is a loss of 10%, at least for 90 days, under the old program. Now, why did they do that? I'm sure that that was money that they could keep to help offset this free box that they were sending to us. Okay, so really what has happened is two things. I'm going to now switch over to. I'm coming down here. See at the bottom, there's 2 tabs. One is the compensation plan. The other one is the due diligence. And so come over here, and I built this to help me analyze what was the old plan, what did it cost me to have a free box, and what does it cost me now, and where's my ROI going to be if I outlay some money for a box. And so this is the top half of this area is the free hotspot due diligence, and then down here, line 34 is where we'll get into the least hotspot due diligence, and I'll explain what I did after I figured out really how these numbers work. First thing you've got to do is you've got to, in these fields, and this is going to be sent to you as part of the downloads, you can set the price of helium that you think, and it could be an average price. It's sitting pretty well right now. I threw in 48, but you could change that. And then you're going to put down the number of helium or hint that you're going to mine per day. And with these 5.8 dBi antennas, I fully expect that your box will do at least 1 helium per day. And then you've got to go ahead and say, okay, how many days before I'm actually going to get a box? What you're going to learn from this spreadsheet is the cost of what we call opportunity cost, meaning that if you do not do something by a certain date, you're going to miss out on everything that you would have gained if you would have started earlier on a project or whatever. And so this is what's calculating. So if you come down, first of all, as we're talking about the old program, so the cost to sign up was free, okay? But remember, we said for 90 days you are going to lose 10% of your revenue. And that equates, based on these numbers up here, to $432. So already out of the gates, the old program, even though they gave you a free box, you lost $432 of HNT value that you weren't able to mine just for the 90 days. But wait, there's even more. If you come down and see that there is about 600,000 affiliates in the Ihub organization. They've only been going for 18 months. This is a very young company. But look at the success that they've had in terms of people who are interested in getting a free box. Now, not all these people are going to say, okay, I will follow you into the next program where I have to shell out some money. So I'm sure that they'll lose quite a few people potentially out of that 600 unless they listen to this video. And so I agreed. I put down a picture of that from the email. You saw over here that graphic, and I've put it down into my spreadsheet. Well, what does that total to in the first 6 months of the year? There's only 274,000 hotspots that are on the docket to be shipped out to 600,000 people in the first half of 2022. So my first question I have for you and me is you have to ask yourself, where am I in line with the other 600,000? And let me give you a little idea. They were scoring, and they do still score us, but now it doesn't affect us. they score the locations, and they were going to be prioritizing sending out the boxes to the best locations that would earn the company. They have to prioritize somewhere, and so they were basing it off of not when you joined necessarily, but off of how great a location that your box was. That means that people that joined after us may end up becoming shipped a box ahead of us. Not very fair, but that was kind of a way that the company was looking at it. Again, I'm telling you that this company discovered a flaw, and they're fixing it to help them and to help us. So what was the ROI? Under the free Hotspot program, your ROI would be immediate, you would think, because, hey, I didn't outlay any money and I start making some money, right? But after the enormous opportunity cost of waiting and needing a mandatory 5 affiliates, what does it really cost? Well, let's come up here. So the daily net rate, if you are at 15%, is $7.20 per day, $216 a month. So if it took us 6 months, 240 days before we ever got us a box, and we still didn't get us the 5 people, our opportunity cost was $1,728 in lost opportunity, or 36 HNT. Well, come down and say, okay, let's say you did go get your 5 affiliates. Now you're at 25%. That's $12 a day, $360 a month. Well, your opportunity cost just went up because you lost out in an additional 10%. So now you're at $2,880 or 60 HNT that you've got to make up, okay, before truly you've had an ROI based on using the opportunity cost, right? So here's your months to break even, is 2 months. If it was just dealing with the 90 days situation and you're able to get your box, but the break even for the opportunity cost is 8 months. Okay, so you'll see those numbers right there. So the iHub marketplace will only increase the opportunity due to the cost of lost revenue, meaning that if in your downline you start actually earning some of this marketplace money, but your commission levels are lower, it's just going to increase the amount of lost opportunity because you're not taking full advantage of the things. So now let's take a look at what they did to help fix the problem, and I'll tell you, it's a big improvement for all of us. So the same numbers as above, but in the estimate days of lost for waiting for a box, that number is going to be, we're going to get a box in January. Okay, so maybe 60 days of lost. Okay, but you're going to go ahead and have to spend $99 with a lease of either $18 a month or a $400 deposit. So really, effectively, you're at $500, let's say. Now, if you went the lease route, it wasn't clear to me whether that $18 would ever drop off. Let's say you kept that box for 5 years. It's like you have a router in your home for your cable box and that they're leasing it, or your modem for your internet at your house, and it's a lease kind of idea. So until you kind of turn back the box, you got this $18 a month. I may be wrong. It may be something that drops off after 24 months because the math kind of works out that would be $400, but that was not clear to me. But basically, you're out for $500, 100 of it being non-refundable, and the deposit. And that's the way I went, and I'll explain why here in a second. What did improve is there is no longer a requirement on your own box to have 5 direct affiliates to get to the 25. So right out of the gates, you're at 25%, not 15. Okay? So we're going to get the box earlier, which means our opportunity cost, our cost is $500, let's say, and our opportunity cost is only $720 now, or only 15 HMT, because we're mining earlier. You see that? You can control how soon you get your hotspot by locking in early. That's an option that was not available. We were just waiting, and we would never have known when our free box would have arrived. This is what was broken, and this is what was fixed over the weekend. Under the lease program, your ROI would be sooner, and under the free program. The iHub marketplace will reduce the opportunity cost due to earlier revenue. See how that works? I just threw this down here just to help you understand Ihub's success. Success can sometimes be one of the most challenging things when you're building a business. I made an estimate, and I think it's a fairly close estimate potentially, that the wholesale cost that Ihub would be getting from one of these manufacturers is probably around $425 for one of these boxes. If you multiply that by 600,000, they had to raise $255 million just to supply that. And as you know, the organization is just beginning. It's going to continue to grow. So our success collectively has just needed to it exposed a problem, and we needed to fix it. And I love the fix, so I'm on board with it, and I'll show you what I did to prove that. So let's go to the next tab. This is now a strategy on how do you move forward. Many of you have seen this, but if you've not, I took the calculator that has the fourth quarter analysis with all the charts. You'll see the charts across the bottom. The calculator on tab 1, the Bitcoin chart, Ethereum chart, all the way across. Okay, you've seen that before. Let's go back to the calculator. And what I did is say, here's the proposal. Take $500. The first $100 you give to Ihub to lock in your the delivery of your box. You take the other $400 and you pick one of these cryptocurrencies to go ahead and put the $400 into. And then, I put the $400 in, and then I used the Fibonacci extension target of 2.618. That's the first one it should hit, or it should definitely hit that earlier than the first of the year. And so let's take, for instance, Binance Coin here. If you were to drop in $400 and it reaches this 2.618 Fibonacci, that's $2,111 on the coin price. And so over here, your profit and loss in that period of time would be $951. You now pull that out or convert at least 500 of it, and your box has been paid for with your trading. And it'll happen before you would owe the money. So conceptually, you can kind of come down. I put it in for all 14 of these that I did the analysis, and you can kind of see how that would play out if you were to do that. So those two tools, those two spreadsheets will help you understand the comp program, the change in the program, the justification, what I call the due diligence that I did, this tab here, the before and the after, and then where you could go and maybe raise that capital if you didn't want to just shell it out. You can earn it back with some trading here in the next few weeks. So now let's say, okay, let's move forward. Ron, let's do this. In that email, there was that link. It brings you to this page after you log in. The number 3 that they're talking about is this little link right here. Okay, you'll click on that. I'm not going to click on mine because it saves some information to private to me, but this is eventually where it gets to. You'll see the application tab, the confirm your location tab, the application fee tab, the agreement and terms, and then a signature. It takes you through a checkout process, and then you'll end up at this page, which is the complete. Congratulations, you successfully locked in your hotspot. We have received your application and payment and will begin provisioning your hotspot and getting it ready for deployment. Your deployment ID is I'm number 132. I will get a box, one of the earliest ones that ship out there, and I just don't know when you will, but you will know that after you've gone through this process and moved forward. One more little plug. There is the event that we mentioned that was on that email. It's $19. I have reserved a spot. If there's still spots available, it comes out with tax about $22, I believe. And so I am going to be joining to learn more about the marketplace and the extra revenue that could happen there. One final slide, and I'll kind of stop and turn this back, is this. Look at what's happened since the analysis I did on Helium. This is a daily chart since the first of the quarter, or the first of the fourth quarter, and look what we're at. We're already reaching the 1.618 level, and I believe that before the end of the cycle, before the about the end of the year, we should be over $100 in Helium. So there's no time to waste. You want to get in and take care of this and move forward. but here's all the information that you need to make an educated decision, and I hope it's helpful. And with that, Bob, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Thank you very much, Ron. As usual, you did a great job, my friend. Listen, we're trying to keep this thing short, but I will give you a couple real quick updates. With this particular video, there should have been an email associated attached to it with a couple of links. One of those links is going to be a downloadable link, which will have these two spreadsheets. Don't worry about them. As far as you can't screw them up, because I locked them. Okay, but you can change everything in the yellow cells. Play with them. Play with them. Play with them. You're going to learn a lot. This is the reason why we're even involved in the whole cryptocurrency domain and in this particular thing. Also, you're going to see a link in there to Binance.us. This is the one and only exchange for most U.S. citizens to be able to get their hands on some helium. And while he's showing you that chart right there, what he didn't tell you was numbers. I know when we got involved in this not too long ago, it was $19, and then it hit $52 when it got through with the weekend. So yes, this is another serious contender for a consideration for cryptocurrency investing until we get our cotton picking miners here. So on that note, thank you very much. Please feel free to contact your upline person if you have any questions. There will also be a link that's on here that goes on to your downloadable that has some other information to it as well. And on that note, thank you very much. Ron, did a good job, my friend.
Thank you.